Mic check. Tell me when we're live. Welcome back to another edition of Black Ice Reality Check. I'm your host, Black Ice. We are going live again. Make sure I'm not on the other video in the waiting room as well. We're going live for another episode to talk about questions from your partner, questions from your spouse, questions from people you're seeing, and how that affects you in the relationship. So I want to talk about this because I see a lot of, we're going to wait for some people to come online. So we were kind of running late today, so we had to start the stream, and this is what happens when you're running behind. So, and it is Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, so I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Which camera's live? Which one? This one? Okay, there's no light on it, by the way. Make it this one if you can. Okay, great. Okay, good deal. So we're waiting for some people to get online on the chat. Again, excuse me. I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. So we're going to start here in about 2 minutes. We'll wait for some more people to chime in here. Good deal. Hope everybody liked the last live session we did here in Vegas. We're coming to you live from the Sticky Paws Podcast Studios here in Las Vegas. All right. We're ready to go. We're going to wait for a couple more viewers, some people to log on. And if they don't, I'm just going to roll with it. Usually we start about 10 minutes early to get the people notifications to go up, but in this case, we're running behind. So, topic, questions from women and ladies when you're in a relationship. How to address those questions. How to ask those questions. How do you maintain those questions? Here's the problem. Because I get asked this all the time from women and men. The number one consensus is men don't like being asked questions. True and false. Part of that is true, part of that's false. We don't mind questions, we just want you to get to the point. And what do I mean by that? When a woman or girlfriend or wife starts asking you too many questions as a man, men take that as being interrogated. Half of that is true. Let me explain. Don't, ladies, when you're asking questions, have a handful, max. Because here's what I see, and this is what I run into myself, and I've been in this, and I've explained it, and women's response is, well, you don't want me asking you questions. No. That's not the problem. The problem is you ask too many questions on the same topic. And then it feels like I'm on the witness stand. It feels like I'm being interrogated. It feels like I'm dealing with a prosecutor. Men get very defensive of women when you ask too many questions. So make sure if you're going to ask questions about a topic that's sensitive, have 3 to 5 questions in bullet points. Ask them, be quiet, let them answer, and then go to the next one. Because what women have a tendency to do, and I'm talking about this because this has been a heated conversation, is they'll ask too many questions, and before I get an answer out, they'll cut me off. And nothing infuriates a man more than a woman cutting a guy off. Why? Because men have to start their story over. If I'm telling a story to a lady and she's asking me a question, I start my story, and she cuts me off mid-drift, what happens? Men, we go back to the beginning and start the story over again. So ladies, you have to understand how to be patient. And again, no more than a handful of questions, 3 to 5. Don't try and ask the same question over again, time and time again. You're going to get the same answer. And I think where we have the breakdown is women want it different. They don't like the answer that they hear, so they want a different answer. So instead of asking a different question, they ask the same question in a different manner. So in other words, if I get a question that says, what time did you leave the store? I say, around 2:30ish. And then later on, she says, well, did you leave the store at 2:30? I thought you said you left the store at 2:30. See, that's interrogating me. I don't like that. I just told you, don't ask me again, because now I'm getting irritated. Because either A, you didn't hear me, or 2, you're expecting a different answer, and you didn't like the answer you got, and 3, I'm feeling interrogated. This is where men go on the defense. This is how our minds operate. This is why guys give one-line answers. Well, you said it was around 2:30. Well, it was actually 2:45. Well, you said 2:30. I said around. See, we don't get so specific in our stories, right? The other point is, ladies, make sure the question is short, a bullet point, short and to the point question. Ask the question, be quiet, let him answer. Because what happens is you cut him off again, he has to start at the beginning. You cut him off, he gets irritated. You cut him off, he gets frustrated. You cut him off, he shuts down. Now there's no conversation. And now you're irritated because why doesn't my husband want to talk to me? I can't tell you how many times I get sick and tired of being cut off. I give up. I said nothing. What are you going to say? I forgot. Why? Because I don't want to repeat myself again. Guys don't like this. Ladies, you've got to understand. Now, I'm not saying guys have a communication challenge either. I'm addressing it from the man's perspective because I've had this question asked me time and time again from women that I coach and guys I coach. They say, why don't men want to talk? And guys say women ask too many questions. So what I did is I took a time out. I reflected. I dissected. And now I'm giving you the truth. Okay? So, guys like my shirt. Thanks for the shirt. I don't know where I got it. I've had it forever. I think it was at like Buckle. I think that was the store. I don't know. Or American Eagle. I don't know. It was a while ago. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Let's see. The other thing is, don't have an ulterior motive for questions. An ulterior is spelled with a U, not an A. Okay, ulterior motive. In other words, make sure. See, here's what happens the first thing, guys always want to know why. Guys always want to know why. Okay, they want to know why you're asking the question. Women don't want you to know why; they just want to ask the question because they're curious, like cats. Okay, so what happens is when you start asking the question. And you start asking it in different ways, shapes, and form, we feel like you have an ulterior motive. You don't trust us. So we push back. And without trust, there's an issue. So if a man feels like you don't trust him and you're asking these questions, trying to get an answer that he doesn't have, yeah, he's going to shut down. Okay? So if you have an ulterior motive, just say it. Don't ask the same question over and over. Remember, you can jump on, ladies, if you have questions or concerns. I have access to Zoom. In the description box in the YouTube channel, you can drop down and you can click on the Zoom and you can jump in and ask questions live if you have any. Okay, we talked about not interrupting him, okay? And don't badger the witness like he's on the witness stand. Men don't like badgering. This is why, ladies, 3 to 5, okay, 3's not enough. You have 5 questions, that's it. And this should not take 30 minutes. 45 minutes, an hour, because I've been in these situations and it's painfully agonizing. This is another reason why men don't come home from their jobs. They go to happy hour, they go to the gym, they come home late, hoping to eat and go to bed and not talk because they don't want to be badgered by a hostile prosecutor. And that's what it feels like. So if you want to have a happy conversation with your husband, or your partner, or whatever you want to call it, boyfriend, ladies, you have to have basic bullet point questions, 3 to 5, keep it short, let him answer it, and don't ask the same question again. That becomes badgering. Okay? So maybe a handful of questions, like I said on the topic. Don't ask 21 questions, because I get those, and I get frustrated. And then what happens as a response is, oh, you don't like it when I ask questions. No, it's not that I don't like it that you ask questions. You ask way too many freaking questions. I'm tired. I'm mentally drained. If I come home from a podcast and my girlfriend starts asking me questions on a topic and there's 21 questions, I feel like I'm being badgered. I feel like I'm being harassed. I feel like there's an ulterior motive. Then I want to shut down. Then I want to push back. She just needs to know. Women just need to know everything. There's nothing wrong with that, but there's only so much a guy can give you before he breaks down and gets irritable and pushes back. So I have a rule in my house. Don't ask me all these questions in the morning before I have my coffee, because you're not going to get a good answer. And I might not even know what I'm talking about. It takes me a while to get going, right? So, I can't stress this enough. Okay, we're out slaying the dragon. We come home, and this is another thing that ladies do when they want. They'll wake up in the morning. See, guys forget about this. We go to bed. It's a new day. We hit restart. We delete the cache like in a computer. The cache is deleted in the search engine, in the history, and the internet, right, on Chrome. We delete all the cache in our brain. We wake up, it's a new day. Women have a tendency to hang on to it from the night before. So when I get up in the morning and I'm going to get my coffee and I'm going downstairs and she comes down and says, so are we going to talk about what happened last night? It's like, whoa, time out. I don't want to hear that first thing in the morning. I want to hear good morning. How are you? Hey, it's good to see you. You know, get a hug, kiss me, whatever. But if we go right back to it, I'm already in a bad spot. My coffee hasn't hit the brain, the caffeine. My motors haven't started running. You know, I'm like an old car, start to choke, get the thing going, warm up the carburetor. You can't come at a guy first thing in the morning and say, boom, and start drilling him with questions. And or when he comes home from work, he'll talk to you, right? And remember, timing. Timing is very important, and that has to go with in the morning or when he comes home from work or whatever he's doing. Have a set time if you want to talk about delicate conversations or topics. Remember EQ, emotional intelligence, ladies. You have to have emotional intelligence, because if you ask these questions and you don't like the answer, don't get butthurt and get all emotional and try to be conniving and ask the question in a different way. It's not going to work out well. And then it's going to go on to another topic. And I hate to say this, but this is the human nature of the way women and men's brains operate in conversation. Anytime there's a heated or a heated discussion or a topic or a delicate situation you're talking about, women's brains are wired different. Now, as far as the anatomy, we both have the same type of brain, but they work different, okay? And psychologists have proven this. Men have a tendency to want to get to the point in the conversation. Women can keep going. And when their emotions kick in, now it becomes this, okay, I'm going to get to the bottom of this, and it's more questions, different ways of asking the questions, more drilling, and it's pestering, and then it becomes this, stop. I can't talk about that. You don't, and then it goes from this to another topic. Well, yesterday, you know, the neighbor did this, and now it's another issue that comes up. We can only deal with one issue at a time, and we got to keep it limited. Okay, so timing is everything. Now I'm going to talk about, this has another second part of this is questions I'm getting is related to relationships. Okay, because I see these comments that came in, and there was a comment that a lady jumped on the Zoom call last week about women feeling pressured. Okay, men want to be in relationships, believe it or not. All the conversations I'm having on podcasts with guests, all the conversations I'm having on chats, DMs, text, men want relationships, okay? Men want marriages, but women are leaving marriages and relationships at a 75% rate or more or greater, okay? So, and they're doing that because they're listening to other women. See, the problem is y'all getting advice from women that have been in bad relationships and or are single. And the biggest challenge that you have is, ladies, if you're in a relationship, you can't act single. What does that mean? That means you doing the things you did before you got in a relationship, you can no longer do those in the current relationship. Okay, you're not independent anymore in a relationship. I need to clarify this, and I'm going to emphasize this, and I'm going to say it again. When you are in a relationship, you are no longer independent. You cohabitate with each other. You codepend with each other. You do things together with each other. And ladies, if you want to go out and act single and do girls' night out every other weekend, go party, do that, that's not what a person in a relationship does. The results of that are always negative. That's why I say to guys, make sure she's done getting it out of her system. And again, you have to act like you're in a relationship if you want a relationship, right? And so when you listen to other single women give you advice on relationships, that's why you have the result you have. And there was an actor, and for the life of me, I can't remember his name, a black actor that just went through a divorce. He played in Transformers. I can't remember his name. Tyson. I think it was Tyson. No, Tyson Gibbs or whatever. He went through a divorce, and his wife came on a podcast, and he talked about it. He said, I did everything right. I don't know what happened. She came on a podcast, and she admitted that she shouldn't have listened to certain individuals. So you got to be careful who's in your ear, right? So if you don't take advice from people that have success in the areas you want, whether it's life, whether it's spiritual, life, finances, business, relationships, lifestyle, any of those areas, and you're listening to somebody giving you advice that doesn't have those and doesn't have proof. Here's the key proof. You're going to go down the same rabbit hole they went down. You're going to have the same result in the relationship they have. So make sure your advice you're getting is from somebody that's done it, doing it, or is living the way you want to live. If you don't like the way I live, then don't take advice from me. You don't have to listen to this. You can switch this show off at any time you want. Fair? Tyrese, that's it. Thank you, Parnell. I appreciate it. Tyrese, yes. Tyrese recently went through a divorce, the actor, and you could tell he was hurt. He loved his wife to death, unconditionally. And he just couldn't, for the life of him, figure it out. Well, his wife decided to get counseling from a third party that had no experience and got around bad association. And as a result, she regrets filing for divorce. And this is my point, which brings me to the other area. And I say this many times. Single ladies, if you're in a relationship, once you get in a relationship, you're not going to like this answer. You're not going to like this answer. You need to get rid of your single lady friends. There's a reason why they're single forever. Now, let me explain. They're not bad people. But you are a part of your association. You are a product of the top 3 to 5 people you hang around. If you don't smoke weed and your friends smoke weed, you will smoke weed. If all your girlfriends are single and you're not, and you hang out and go out with them constantly, you will be single. I don't care who says what and disagrees with me. If you hang out with people that are single, you'll be single by default. You'll either step over the line, make a mistake, have issues with your partner, want that lifestyle. I'm not telling you to get rid of your friends. I'm saying you need to stop hanging out. Hear me out. I realized this when I got around a multimillionaire. I have a lot of friends, okay? I have a small circle of influence. I stopped hanging around people that weren't better for me, that weren't doing any better for me in life. I didn't disown people, but I had friends that were really negative. I cut them out. I had friends that were single that wanted to party all the time, and I knew if I hung out with them, I'd end up like that. I cut them out. I had people that doubted me, that behind my back would say he's going to fail. I cut them out. I have family members I don't talk to on a regular basis because they're negative. That anything that's not good for your current situation, if and hear me out, and I've been in this situation before. If Let me ask you a question, and I see now I got someone on a super chat here. My girlfriend's on here. This man gets 5 meals, snacks all day, homemade. She cooks 5 meals a day for me at home. She's a superwoman. Some ladies have a hard time cooking one meal, right? So back to what I was saying. Men, ladies, if you are married or in a long-term relationship, here's what I want to do. I'm going to separate categories. Depending on your belief structure, your vertical alignment with God or not God, however you live, okay? I'm not here to judge, okay? I'm not a Bible thumper. I'm a Christian, but I'm a hypocrite. I sin every day, okay? So Christians aren't hypocrites. People are hypocrites. Let's get that clear. But whatever your vertical alignment is, you ready? If you're in a long-term relationship and you're living with someone or married, hear me out. That person is supposed to come first before your mom or dad. If they don't, that relationship will 100% fail. If my mama doesn't like my girl, too bad. I left the house and joined with my partner, AKA wifey, okay? Wifey's another term for a living girlfriend where you don't have a contract. There's a lot of people that disagree with this. I'm going to tell you why. In the Bible, if you want to go biblical, it says that your wife comes before your mom. It says your wife comes before your kids. It's God first, then the man, then the woman, then the kids. The job slides in there because you need income to take care of the family. But if it comes down between a battle between your parents, first of all, I'm not married to my mom. Second of all, my mom doesn't pay my bills. Third of all, I picked my partner. If she doesn't like my partner, that isn't my problem. My partner is a good person. Now, my mom likes my partner. Hear me out. She likes my girlfriend. I'm just saying, you can't take advice from people that don't have the success you have. My mom's single and alone. Okay? Because of the decisions she's made in the past have caused her to be alone, old, and single. And she's not happy. I'm not here to bash my mom, but I can't take relationship advice from her because she didn't do the things that she needed to do to have a successful relationship. My mom was a modern day woman. I wouldn't say a feminist, but very masculine in her energy. It didn't work out. And when I talk to her now, all I hear is, yeah, well, I'm getting old and, and I can't work anymore. And she's lonely. My grandmother had the same masculine mindset, but she's married multiple times. They passed away, but she still had that boss bee mentality. And so my mom picked it up from her. And as a result, my mother has the same energy. I'm telling you, ladies, look, the 25-year-olds when I was 25 that have that energy, they're my age now and single. They all say the same thing. Some of them are starting to shift. Now they went from I don't need a man to there's no good men. And then it's going to go from that there's no good men to I messed up because I had a feminist mindset. I had a masculine energy. Yeah, you did. But when you're young, dumb, and ignorant, like a lot of young people are, not just women, men too, we haven't found ourselves. Your brain doesn't mature till you're 27 years old as an adult. So you don't know what you're thinking, but when you get older, because you heard the stories, your dad would say, I walked 2 miles both ways up a hill in snow to school. You have it easy. Now, as adults in our 40s or late 40s, we're saying, hey, these kids these days, because we've been through it. So, right now, the focus is on relationships is don't listen to people that don't have the results. You can't go to a club and a bar to find a husband, ladies. or a mate. Okay, you might meet somebody there, but look, you're going to a nightclub, and I always emphasize this. I had it. Okay, so F1 was here. I got invited to a private event at a club here in one of the casinos. Me and Puma. So we went, and I got to tell you, I was just in there going, "This is a nightmare." It was a nightmare. I got in there and VIP, this and that, getting the special line. It's an outdoor indoor club. Then we got to wait in this other line. I'm in there looking at these people going, dude, I don't want to be here. And I see people, single people my age up in there. And I'm just looking, dude, this is depressing. Because see, there's the haves and the have-nots. And then when we ask this question, we're all the good men, they're already taken. We're all the good women. They're already taken. You got to go find them now. And you waited till you were past 30, ladies, to go, we're all the good men. They found the 27-year-old. When you were 27, you didn't need a man. Remember, you wanted to get your PhD? Remember, you wanted your career? You were going to wait till you were 33? Now you're saying they're gone. So now you got to go find them. Right? So when you see the man that's moving and acting like a man, most of the time you call him arrogant. You call him a narcissist. You call him a misogynist. That's the guy you want. That's the guy that you need. That's the guy that's going to elevate your game and bring you to the next level. So the guys that are men's men, king among men, those are the guys you want. So when you see that guy say, I don't like him, he's arrogant, and maybe he's confident. Maybe he's just has that power and presence. So here's a question. Problem is women are easy to manipulate. They knew that when you gave them the right to vote. So here's this is a good comment. So see, men are very simple and women will move in. And I read this article and I was talking to the psychologist, clinical psychologist, that there's always in a relationship, there's always somebody that's the savior and then there's always someone that's the narcissist. And a little bit of narcissism is okay, right? But the manipulator in that relationship has to do it in a positive way. And it's called motivation, okay? So how are you going to motivate your partner in a positive way, right? And what happens with men inherently, and I talk about this, is if you give the woman in a relationship an inch, she'll take a mile. And this is, now hear me out, when I explain this. This all has to do with your boundaries and frame. Here's your boundaries, here's your rules, no exceptions, right? So if you stay within these boundaries of the relationship with a partner and you let that person step over, they're going to take that and inherently they're going to now position up and take advantage of the relationship. Not directly, indirectly, subconsciously. Why? Because it's a survival trait. It's biological in women, survival of the fittest. They want the strongest, fastest, smartest, tallest, wealthiest guy and to survive, to breed offspring, to have longevity with their family. And so they're wired biologically and genetically to move to the better option for suitability and success, right? So inherently and biologically what happens is if there's any sense of blood in the water, and then remember, this isn't conscious, this is subconsciously. Their minds, at them as a person, what happens is they will start pushing. And then they'll start push. And then the ones that are narcissists will take advantage of that and manipulate the situation. And then they'll do it directly. But that's why you see relationships where this is the guy's boundary. I got somebody that's going to jump in here. It's a guy. I'm going to let him jump in. So he's jumping on the Zoom. Is my mic? unmute. Do I unmute on the computer? Okay. All right. William, in there? Okay. Okay. So we got some joker. So we'll get him off. Okay. There we go. We had some joker on there spamming. That's okay. I gotta love haters, guys. You gotta love haters. Without haters, there'd be no fun. Here, hold on a second here. Let me adjust this. Okay, I'm starting that meeting back up. Reclaim host. Okay. Join with audio. I can't get this guy off. End meeting for all. Okay, there we go. Let me see if it shows up now. Okay. There, now you can log on. All right. Back to the podcast. All right. All right. Understand your prime years are in your 20s, ladies. Don't buy into the feminist and mainstream BS that we are equal to. So I read this book, and I want to talk about this real quick. I put the Zoom on, Trey, by the way. Okay. So, but you didn't stream that? Oh, okay, good. So we had a guy that jumped on the Zoom and had a weird picture of his privates, I think. I don't know, whatever. Guys, women don't like that. Guys don't like that. Don't send nude DMs, okay? Nobody wants to see that from men. There's nothing attractive about that. I was reading this book by Dr. David Buss today, and it was talking about real quick here, what Mark was just talking about. In all these cultures in Asia, Africa, back in the old days, right? They would, after a woman turns 30, they would kind of push her aside. And they would not sell her off, but give her off to lower level countrymen or men in the villages, and because she's not suited for a good mate of marriage. And so inherently, like I said before, your mid-20s is a prime opportunity, ladies, if you're going to get in a relationship and get the most successful guy you want. Now, I'm not saying if you're in your 30s and 40s, ladies, you're not going to be, or 50s, you're not going to find a man. I'm not saying that at all. Your peak years to find the best suited mate, the high value guy with everything you want, right? The ice cream sundae with the cherry on top, whipped cream, and the sprinkled nuts. That's in your mid-20s to your late 20s. After that, you're not going to get the cherry. Then you're going to lose the whipped cream. Then you're going to lose the nuts. And then you're going to lose the banana. And then pretty soon you're just going to have chocolate, and you're going to have what's left over. Because the value of it, from a man's perspective, it's always based on looks. And I see a lot of ladies say we're shallow, but you do the same thing. You don't want a short guy. You want a tall guy. You don't want a fat guy. You don't want a bald guy. You want a guy that makes 6 figures. You want a guy with a good credit score. You want a guy with an MBA. So you have your needs too. So it's not shallowness. It's just what we look for. And it helps our status. Attractive women help a man's status, which has been proven. Okay? So if you have an attractive woman as a man, it fulfills your needs. And that's the first thing we look at, just like women look for resources. Okay? And how a woman acts, Mark put up a good thought here. How a woman acts defines the man's masculinity, right? So what I noticed is, I see this a lot when we're out. Alcohol never mixes well with bad relationships, first of all. I don't drink. But if you're having a tough time in a relationship and you go out and have drinks with your partner, that's a recipe for disaster right there. Because I see one thing that I will recommend is this. If you have challenges with your person in your relationship, your mate, don't de-edify that person in public. If you have a disagreement, Take that home. Don't have a tissy fit in public. Don't make a scene. Don't raise your voice. Don't de-edify that person, especially in front of their mate, their colleagues and associates. Because if you do that, that's a sign of real big disrespect towards that person. That means you don't care about anything that happens to them, around them, or with them that affects them emotionally. Now, I've been in situations personally where I was dating someone and they started getting off the hinges a little bit, and I had to put them in check, and I tried to do it diplomatically. And as they raised their voice and kind of people started looking, then I put my foot down and raised my voice. Because I'm not going to get put down and embarrassed in public. I try to leave the situation. But also, that was a bad choice on my part. That's why I always say coffee date first, right? Get to know the person. But if you have a person that has their EQ is low, emotionally unstable, first of all, they shouldn't be drinking. If they're drinking in public with you when you go out to eat, you're going to have a problem because there's already emotional issues, guys and gals. That's why if you have a problem in public, take that shit home. Leave. I'll leave. If there's an issue and an attitude's wrong, I'm going home. Because I don't want to have a situation where at a dinner table, and you can tell those couples that aren't getting along. It's embarrassing. Your problem isn't anybody else's problem. Don't make your situation the restaurant situation, the bar situation, the waiter situation, the manager situation. Keep that shit private. So, she is a direct reflection of you. So, a couple other things here. Want to point out, Mark made a good comment here. Women that act promiscuous and masculine person must have a simp for their man. No way around it. So this is an interesting area. And I brought this up and I had a lot of people disagree with it, but I want you to, I want you to sit back and analyze the situation. Women that are attractive, that are 5s and above, average and above. Let's take an average woman. I'll even go to a 3, but let's just do average for a point of reference. A 5 is an average looking woman, okay? And that's based on an objective outlook, not an opinion, ladies. Objectively, okay? We have men objectively know what beauty is. It's not, it's in the eye of the beholder. No, physical appearance is objective for men on what they find attractive. Hip, waist ratio, facial structure, symmetry, looks. That's why the beauty queens are always picked. The guys are like, this one, this one, this one. Now they're not picked by men. Now they're picked by wokies that have a socialist agenda and, want to pick an overweight woman to make everybody feel good, or a guy that says he's a woman. But if you take an average woman, hear me out. If she's a 5 in the looks department, okay? If she's a 5, which is average, an objective 5, if she's a 5 and above, and she says, quote, I can't find a man, she is the problem. I'll say it again. If a woman is a 5, average and above, and she says she can't find a good man, she is the problem. Why do I say that? We all know that women can always get a man. The problem is they can't keep a man, and they can't get the man they want. Now I'm going to go to the next part. Write this down. The next part is I have to step up and be the man. Again, like last week, you're too masculine for a masculine man. He doesn't have to deal with you. You have to settle for a beta. You don't want a beta. I get it. That's fine. But in order for you to play in the king's arena, you have to understand how to act like a woman. And acting masculine is not acting like a woman. That's acting like a man. And you're not going to get a man. You're going to be the man. And you're going to be dating a beta male. And then you're going to say, I had to step up and be masculine because my boyfriend's not. Now, the other category is I don't need a man. Fine. You really do, but whatever. Don't be with a man, okay? Why do I say you need a man? Because everything you do in life, a man does for you. If you have an OnlyFans, guess who the biggest pimp in the world owns OnlyFans? It's a guy. Hello? He gives you your money. You're pimping for him. The guy that fixes your car is a guy, the person. The person that works in your house or apartment is a guy. Person that changes your tires is a guy. Person that changes your oil is a guy. The person that will protect you will be a man if there's a man there to protect you. You say you don't need a man, but when shit hits the fan, oh, you need a man. But for conversation purposes, the ones that say they don't need a man, fine, stay single. But when you say you can't find a man, ladies, and you're a 5 and above, a real 5, and you could even be a 3, because I know as well as you do, and men, we all know this. Your DMs are full of dudes. You have guy friends, and you all say you can't find a good man. And don't say you're waiting on God. God already sent you a good man. You friend zoned him. And if you keep waiting long enough, you'll find a good man. His name's Jesus. Can I get a witness? Are you with me? So I don't want to hear it. And I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to tell you another thing. If you can't find a good man, have a conversation with me. I'll tell you what you're doing wrong, that you're not finding the guy you want. I'm not going to beat you up. I'm just going to tell you the facts. You don't have to agree with me, but I'm going to tell you. I can decipher the code. A lot of times, you're in your early 30s or mid 30s, and you're expecting the same outcome you had in your mid 20s. It's not going to happen. See, everything you do and decision you make, if you're in your 20s, ladies, and listen to this, if you're in your 20s, women, listen to what I have to say. If you're in your 20s, every decision you make is going to be critical for the outcome result you'll have in your future relationship. Right now, you're thinking about your career and yourself. It will impact you, the decisions you make now, for the results you have and get in your relationship. And I can tell you all of those. You don't have to agree with them. If you're in your 30s, ladies, the things and decisions you made impacted where you're at now and the relationships you're going to get. If you're in your 40s and 50s, it's the same thing. And if you are in your mid-30s still saying you can't find a good man, you are definitely the problem, especially at 30. And the mindset and attitude has to be adjusted. You can stay single. I don't care. Nobody cares. But don't show up on TikTok talking about you can't find a good man or a good black man or this or that. They're all over the place. You're too picky and you're not bringing what's needed to bring to the relationship of value to get that guy. Generally, is a problem. I see got girls with 4 guy friends. And the guy they describe as their guy friend, and when I asked them, would your guy friend say you're marriage material? Absolutely, 100%. Why aren't you with him? Well, he's my friend. Yeah, God sent you the right guy. You friend zoned him. Are you with me, guys? Pretty women, 7s and above. 6 is cute. Kevin Samuel said there's no 7s, but for this conversation, we'll say there's a 7. 7, 8s, and 9s, and 10s, if they exist. Pretty women are never single. They're only single because they want to be single. Even a 5 and a 6 in this day and age is never single. You're single because you want to be single. Because there's men that'll date you. But you guys have created a mold for the man you're looking for that God can't even create that mold. That mold's been broken by you. You're looking for Thor, a superhero. That superhero comes around once in a lifetime, and it was when you were in your mid-20s and 27. He might have been 35. And you're still looking for him. Or you had a good man and let it go because you thought there was more out there. I'm telling you right now, the ladies that have listened to me, there's been 7 in 1 year. 7. They are back in a relationship very happy, successful, loving life. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect, but they're now in relationships. And I told them this. I said, if you do everything I tell you to do, you will find the right guy. And they did. The ones that don't listen, then their attitude and tone changes. Well, I really don't need a man. Again, that's fine. But don't bitch about not having one. Don't come on my podcast complaining about me. I hate women. I'm a misogynist, all this BS. Why do you care if you don't need a man? You do want a man, but you can't get one because your attitude, your mindset, your masculinity, your outlook. Good point. If you are 35 years old as a woman, you're not going to like this. It's hard to compete with a 25-year-old on certain levels. On certain levels. It's just the way it is, man. It's just the way it is. I mean, you can not like what I have to say, and I'm not saying you're a worse woman. I'm not saying that you're not more intelligent or better at conversation or more empathetic. It comes down, and I'm not saying you're not attractive. I'm not saying that at all. I did a poll on my Instagram. I said, who are you going to draft first, guys? The Mexican girl that works at McDonald's that was cute, or Miss America? And 95% of the men out of all the people that voted went for the Mexican young McDonald's worker. Those are statistical numbers. That's data. Data doesn't lie. I asked the poll. It came out 1,200 people. 1,200 men, and there was a couple girls, so whatever. 1,200 men. 95% said the young girl that works at McDonald's. If I flip that and put that out, and I put a guy that looks good working at Burger King or McDonald's and a very successful, handsome guy in a suit, 95% of the women are going to take the guy in the suit because it represents success and resources. So what I'm telling you is factual. What you need to do is listen and apply what I'm teaching you. So how do you compete as a 35-year-old woman with a younger gal? You have to be more feminine. Youth is not on your side. Most guys that are successful want to bear and have children. You might already have children. That is another negative for a man going into a relationship with someone else's child. The child is not a negative. Hear me out. I said that can be looked upon as a negative going into a relationship because that's one more thing that the guy has to deal with is the ex. You may at 35 not want to have more children. That could be another nix. So as a woman at 35, you really have to be super feminine, super agreeable, cooperation, which is submissive, very attractive, to compete with a girl in her 20s. That's it. And be fit, be in shape. Because if not, you're going to get tossed around like a badminton or a tennis ball. You're going to be used and abused. You'll date. Again, dating isn't the issue. It's keeping a guy. And if you're 40, you're just going to have to really, really, really be a superwoman. Now, can you get an average guy that'll accept you for everything and love you? Yes. But what happens is when I do the numbers and I write down the numbers on a piece of paper, everything you describe in a man isn't an average dude. And so what happens is you end up trying to go for that guy you could have nailed in your 20s, late 20s, mid to late 20s. And it won't happen. It won't happen. And if it does, great. There's exceptions to the rule, but the rule is the rule. The exception isn't the rule. And it's just like the lady said, well, you use all these generalization statements. I don't like it. I was like, well, generalization's wrong. I said, okay, is it generally sunny in the Sunshine State in Florida? Yeah. So most of the time it's sunny, but there's a hurricane every now and then. But that's an exception. She's like, yes. Okay, so if it's generally sunny in Las Vegas and Florida, would you say it's pretty much sunny in those cities? Yes. Okay, so I'm telling you the generalization. I'm telling you the rule, not the exception. The rule in Vegas is it's pretty much sunny and hot. Yes. Okay, so here's the generalization. Here's the rule. The rule is successful men tend to date women in their mid to late 20s. That's it. And you can say, oh, they want to control them. No, it's not about that. There's less baggage that comes with it. There's less men that have been with them. They probably don't have a kid. Probably haven't been divorced. Probably haven't been heartbroken multiple times. They probably haven't been alpha widowed. And their youth and beauty is there. And the opportunity for them to have kids is there. So there's 8, I'm sure there's 10, but I listed 8 things. All right? So, with that being said, this podcast wasn't that long. I'm going to end it short. I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving for tomorrow. I'm going to try to get these shorts out right away. And bring a list of questions, guys. This is an open forum. This is an open forum, okay? I have no problems having an open forum and having people jump on. Remember, we have a live Zoom link, okay? You can jump on at any time on the Zoom because the information's in the description box. And make sure you can actually DM me a list of questions. The website for Black Eye Supplements is coming up. The supplement site's going to launch in 2 weeks here. We're behind schedule due to some technical issues we're dealing with. But that's going to go up soon, and that helps fund the website. So if you work out or you want to stay in shape, then definitely order these supplements. They'll help your performance. Other than that, man, I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy the time off. And stay strong. And remember, this is the only podcast where the truth will set you free on relationships. Stay